This is a Check This Out exclusive.
Of the 7.2 billion people on Earth, 3 billion have internet access. 2.1 billion are using social media right now.
Check This Out News, coming to you live.
This is a panel about hip-hop's new love affair with blockchain. And we have a fantastic host for this segment in the music track. We have Mike John, who is the founder and CEO of Digital Mindstate, which is a creative agency that serves the likes of iHeartRadio, Radio One, T-Mobile, and many others. And also the first podcast that focuses on tech, music, and pop culture. This podcast is called Check This Out, and you can download that on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever else you get your music and podcast content, iTunes as well. So give a warm round of applause for our host and moderator, Mike Johns.
I'll cut the check later. Yes, indeed. Thank you guys, everybody, for coming out with us today. We have a rock star panel. I'm really excited for this ensemble of rock star individuals, or as I call them in hip-hop, game spitters. Jay-Z, game spitters. That's people who really know the business. So first up, I want to introduce everybody, starting with my man Aubrey Flynn.
Aubrey Flynn, former Chief Digital Officer at Revolt TV. Today I'm representing the nonprofit sector, sky'sthelimit.org. We're using blockchain to do some really interesting things that I love to talk about.
Outstanding. Real humble. He has an extensive background working with Mr. none other than P. Diddy, but that's why the suit, you see his game. Moving right along, we have Ray representing Sony. Please give an intro.
Ray Ann, Sony Music. I'm VP of Urban Latin Marketing, here to talk to you about the movement of cryptocurrency, blockchain in the music business.
What I love about Ray, his point of view is going to really represent hip-hop as the overview. One of the biggest genres of music that's happening right now is reggaetons. And if you do all the research, you don't really hear the association between blockchain technology and reggaeton. He happens to represent also one of the big artists, Bad Bunny, with over how many billion streams on YouTube?
Last checked was 4 billion.
4 billion. Yeah, rockstar panel, guys. And next up, this is the homegirl, Shalita Burks. I call her this year's smart artist. She debated with me on the term, but a smart artist is someone that, check this out, feels uses technology to connect with fans and also to monetize. She's a rock star, has been featured in Forbes magazine. Girl, tell them about yourself.
I'm Shalita Burke, and first of all, artists are all intelligent to some degree. All artists are intelligent. Just want to say that.
There she goes.
I'm an artist and technologist, scientist, blah, blah, blah.
Rock star.
Rockstar.
Yes, indeed. Byron is with us. This is the CEO of Recording Artists Guild, another rock star. Please tell me a little bit about yourself.
Byron Booker with Recording Artists Guild. Started it 10 years ago to be an advocate and liaison from artists to the industry and kind of decipher all the models and opportunities in the marketplace. So we do live stream events. We help with publishing, licensing, touring, merch, all kinds of stuff. And here to talk about how blockchain is impacting artists and where it's going and what we're doing to really help educate and onboard artists to what's happening next in music.
Awesome. Last but not least, we have the final rock star on this panel, Lauren Bizzle, a technologist. Please tell them about yourself.
Hey, everybody. My name is Lauren Bissell. I've been a music producer, concert producer for the past 10 to 12 years now, I guess. Have had the absolute honor and pleasure of working with everyone from Jay-Z and Nas in the hip-hop world to Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard in the country world. So super excited to talk about hip-hop here today and representing Immutable Music, which is basically a think tank to help bring technologists and musicians together in a way that is comfortable and real conversation can happen.
Awesome. I'm going to dive in. First up, the DNA of hip-hop combines hustling and being a trendsetter. So blockchain technology makes for the new love affair. Even with blockchain technology still in its infancy, hip-hop will play in the hands and shaping the perception of blockchain and music. Aubrey, I want to start with you. The pressure in hip-hop, artists, they're fight tooth and nail who can be one up on the next, from Lil Wayne and his Samsung deal to Jay-Z, everybody embracing technology, everybody trying to really be, the maverick. Question I would have, why, in your opinion, does blockchain present such a serious attraction for hip-hop artists and other music artists in general?
Great question. So when you look at the landscape of hip-hop over the last few decades, since its emergence, the story is really about the opportunity or lack thereof for a particular community to start from the bottom and become successful. So we have a number of pioneers, Jay-Z, Sean Diddy Combs, the list goes on, that have become very successful entrepreneurs in multiple industry verticals. For instance, I've had the opportunity to work with Mr. Combs over the last 10 years across, retail with Macy's, spirits with Diageo, television with Revolt, multiple distribution networks. The list goes on. So how does the empowerment scale going forward? Blockchain is a technology. It's bigger than the cryptocurrencies that are so volatile right now in the marketplace. So now is a lot like the late 90s where, there was a dot-com bubble, but, people didn't necessarily understand the full opportunity with the internet. Now we're realizing that today, billion-dollar organizations are being born, and they're scaling dramatically and very quickly. So here you have an audience of people who have never had opportunity, never had access, never had control over things like their intellectual property, the knowledge of how to sort of maneuver in the space. And there's an opportunity.
The DNA we're talking about.
Absolutely, just because of the hustler's mentality of this hip-hop culture, trying to create something from nothing. So now, just like the internet was able to disrupt a lot of these systems in place in the entertainment space, democratizing how things get done for artists, the blockchain has a revolutionary, potential.
Righteous. Let me get in that same vein. What role has trust played in this attraction?
So trust, let's talk about trust and the lack thereof. I mean, emerging artists, they have intellectual property. They have creative that they're looking to monetize and earn a living for themselves and their families. And not a lot of them have the opportunity to learn about the legalities, the finance, and a lot of the other systems in place and the institution that's in place that is the entertainment industry. So they're leveraging technology now to cut out the middleman. A lot of middlemen, some have been very shady. Not all of them have been operating above board to a lot of independent young artists coming up. A lot of people have been screwed. This technology puts the power in the hands of the creator to own and monetize in a very transparent, in a very private, and open way. And I think that's why trust is important, because the power is now in the hands of the people.
Excellent. Shalita, smart artists are exploring blockchain as a big spreadsheet in the sky that could help them seize control back of music. In your eyes, does blockchain have the ability to revolutionize music, and has it already started so, or is it just hype?
Before I answer this question, I'd like to provide more context of what blockchain actually is.
Please.
And so I'd like everyone to think about how, when you first got introduced to the internet, how vast the possibilities were for you, and how rapidly in the 5 to 10 year span that you were exposed to it, how things and industries were moving and changing. When you think about the blockchain, think about it like a concept. Like, for instance, you can go online and you can create a domain name and you can create a concept of a website and you can deploy things and applications and what have you on a website. Think of blockchain as that. Right now, the limiting definition is that blockchain is like a global spreadsheet that we can update in real time where you can't delete an entry. But that's only one aspect of it. Like, I believe in 20 years or less, every single human being will have the aspect of creating their own blockchains with ease of access, with, computing being less and less expensive as we go along and more faster as we go along. And you'll be able to create your own blockchains, your own parameters for those chains. And in that space, I believe that the 10-year-olds and 20-year-olds of tomorrow, in the 10-year spans, will be able to interface in a way that's more transparent for everyone. So how does that apply to the music industry? Well, the way it applies to the music industry is when artists are giving things to their fans, the fans know with blockchain technology, if you use it in this way because it's values neutral, that the asset that the artist is giving to that fan is given to them, and they know that, wow, when I consume this music, the artist is actually getting paid. And I know that because I see the transaction, I see the transparency, and I trust this aspect of this transparency. That's only one of many applications of the blockchain.
Very good, very good. Lauren, blockchain in music has the potential of forming a collective truth, a new data standard that the industry will ultimately have to adapt. Are we beyond the proof of concept right now?
No, I don't think we're beyond proof of concept at all. If anything, we're still working, I think, to develop something that is a true proof of concept. Mm-hmm. To Shalita's point, I completely agree with you. There's a million different applications that can be created on blockchain. There's a million different applications for blockchain. So we're exploring a lot of those right now. I think I'm very interested in some of the platforms that have been developed that are trying to kind of, either take over what Spotify is doing or Apple Music and create new distribution platforms. I think that's interesting. We're in the very early stages of that. I haven't seen anything that I think is going to take over overnight in that area. But what I'm really happy to see right now is companies like Apple who are working to implement blockchain for their metadata, for their IP for artists, for tracking. And I think that's where we're going to see the first use cases that are real and successful, and that will set industry standards.
Interesting. That just a perfect segue. Ray, you're over at Sony. I want to ask: are record labels ready to embrace blockchain and, in essence, have their control decentralized?
No. Basically, what you're offering is a way for, as the other colleagues have said, transparency. You've basically let them know where every cent, where every penny was made and spent. Whereas for years, they have been able, under their corporate shield, their corporate structure, to legally hide everything. So if you have any lawyers in the room, you guys know about procedural law. So procedural law basically gives you your guidelines. If you look at sports have guidelines. They have rules. So under the corporate shield, labels have been able to shield and hide everything. So they are not going to be so quick to embrace cryptocurrency.
Oh, dang.
Thanks for that. Okay.
You heard it here first.
We want to remind you to please like our Facebook page if you haven't already. When you join, you'll be able to receive weekly updated news and events, live video messages, and most importantly, you'll be able to interact with tons of people just like you. So go on that button on top of your Facebook page and give it a click, or interact with us on Instagram. Without each and every one of you, Tech This Out would not exist. We couldn't do it without you. Make sure to repost and share different things you see on our page. The more you share, the better. Be sure to watch previous shows on our YouTube channel, and please subscribe so that you can be notified when we post new content. We really want to connect and hear from you. So please don't hesitate to message us. And to find us online, please go to Tech This Out America on Facebook, Tech This Out on YouTube, Twitter, and all social media platforms. Get whole scope at TechThisOutNews.com. We connect the streets.
Byron, let me ask you this. Artists have traditionally been first to work and last to be paid. How can blockchain technology revamp outfits such as your organization, BMI, and outfits like ASCAP?
Well, I think that it's really, like many of the panelists said today, putting the power back directly with the artists to interface directly with their fans, and blockchain will allow